Tonight ahead on 12 News, diving into healthcare reform, what the changes in the law could mean for your pocketbook. Then, a new future laid out for a Plymouth golf course, why the Elm Creek course is now set to close its doors. But first, new developments in a Brooklyn Park homicide case, how there's a link to a previous murder investigation. 12 News starts right now. Police have identified the woman whose body was found in a car that was towed from a Brooklyn Park grocery store.
She is 24-year-old Clarissa Cook from Gainesville, Georgia. Renee Bonneau has the latest on the investigation and the suspect in this case, who is already in custody.
Alex and Mike, detectives have identified the suspect in this case as 24-year-old Alberto Palmer. Palmer is in custody in Anoka County, charged with first-degree homicide in a separate case. In February, the body of 18-year-old Brittany Clardy was found in a car that was towed away from a Brooklyn Park apartment complex. According to a criminal complaint, Clardy met Alberto Palmer through the website Backpage.com. They had sex before Palmer choked her, beat her, and left her body in the car. Palmer was arrested about 2 weeks later. Now police are linking Palmer to the death of Clarissa Cook. Police say her body was found inside a car that was towed from the Rainbow Foods parking lot in Brooklyn Park on April 11th. The car was taken to an impound lot in Minneapolis. Workers there found her body in the trunk more than a month later on May 20th. Police won't say what ties Palmer to Cook's death, only that he is the suspect in this case. Alberto Palmer was wanted in Georgia for allegedly attacking 3 other women, all of whom he met on Backpage.com. Police here would not say whether Clarissa Cook was associated with that website, but court documents in Gwinnett County, Georgia, shows she pleaded guilty to prostitution last year. Mike and Alex, there's still plenty of questions, such as what was she doing here in Minnesota and how she died, but right now police aren't giving us any more information.
All right, thanks,
Renee.
The Anoka School Board is still trying to determine if a student will be expelled for fighting in class and roughhousing with a teacher. This is cell phone video of the May 3rd incident. 14-year-old Kamar Abdul Qadir is the student facing expulsion. He and another student were fighting in class, and shortly afterwards, a teacher jumped in to break it up. Some Somali community leaders say the teacher went too far by choking and pushing Kamar's face into a desk. The Somali student was later arrested and charged with second-degree assault for picking up a hammer after the fight. He was suspended from school. No word on if the other student faced disciplinary action. Yesterday, Somali community leaders met with school officials. They want an independent investigation, and the school board is expected to make a decision on that in the next 2 days. A busy road in New Hope had to be shut down this morning after a gas main leak. Around 8 this morning, a New Hope City contractor hit a small gas line near 45th Avenue in Winnetka, and as a precaution, traffic was shut down in both directions. Everything was back up and back to normal in about an hour. A Plymouth golf course that's been a fixture in the city since the 1960s will soon close its doors for good later this summer.
The Plymouth City Council voted this week to redevelop the site of the Elm Creek Golf Course. Delane Cleveland has more on what's in store for the land and what it will mean for the city's tax base.
There have been a few sunny days lately to enjoy a game of golf at Plymouth's Elm Creek Golf Course. But soon, weather won't be to blame for its troubles.
Well, the course wasn't very well maintained. We really didn't enjoy it.
The course has been a fixture along Highway 55 for the past 50 years, but some golfers here didn't care too much about history.
We did mention that it would be a good place for a big housing development.
They're not the only ones who feel that way.
It's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion?
Tuesday night, the Plymouth City Council voted to rezone the land to make way for a housing development called Creekside Hills.
The current property owners owned the land for several years with the intention to develop. And at this point, what they would do is develop everything north of the creek with 156 new single-family homes.
Sean Drill showed plans of how the homes would be laid out.
Elm Creek, which meanders through the site.
And he indicated that those 156 new homes won't exactly be affordable housing.
The developer is saying in the range of $600,000 to $1 million.
Developers call it a welcome addition to the city's tax base.
Yeah, I think from the city's perspective, we're welcoming that redevelopment of that property.
Officials from Elm Creek Golf Course wouldn't say how they felt about the change, but they did say that the course will operate as normal until the final week of August. Butch Berg, however, welcomes the change.
I think it would be a nice place for homes.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
In addition to single-family homes planned for the property, the Wayzata School District also purchased the other portion of the site. However, district officials haven't decided what they want to do with that land. A plan to bring more than 300 rental townhomes to Brooklyn Park is now on hold, at least for now. Brooklyn Park is considering a proposal that would bring 17 buildings with 340 rental townhomes to an area called 610 Crossings. Right now, the spot is open land near the intersection of Oak Grove Parkway and Xenia Avenue North. The land is currently designated for commercial and retail development and not high-density housing. And there's concern among some city officials, including the mayor, that opportunities will be lost if the land is changed to housing.
I think all of us have heard it. Residents have heard it. They want those type of things that drive shopping here, shopping local, and I don't mean local, I mean just convenient. They also want restaurants.
Well, I think the concern is what opportunity is given up by changing it to high-density residential. We're losing the opportunity for commercial development.
The City Council is expected to take up the issue again at its June 3rd meeting.
A study on merging local fire departments likely won't get very far. One Brooklyn Park council member calls it, quote, politically impossible. Brooklyn Park was one of 7 Northwest Metro agencies included in a study on the pluses and minuses of creating a regional fire department. The goal was to look at potential cost savings and benefits. But a merger isn't so simple. Each fire agency operates and budgets differently.
I honestly could not ever honestly vote to change what we do, because what we do is top-notch for our residents. And I really think that this study shows that.
The study did reveal one potential concern for Brooklyn Park. Brooklyn Park does not typically rely on paid on-call firefighters and had lower turnout to structure fires compared to other agencies. While Brooklyn Park has stable staffing with its duty crew model, the study shows the city would have to rely on other cities if a major structure fire occurred.
Meanwhile, Brooklyn Park firefighters are getting the chance to train in a unique setting. The pending demolition of the Grand Rios Water Park and Hotel is serving as a fire training site. Brooklyn Park firefighters were there Wednesday morning simulating a fire rescue situation.
Buildings this size present some real challenges in terms of being able to identify the seat of a fire, be able to extend hose lines to that fire. Search and rescue becomes an issue. Imagine if this hotel was full and it was also full of furniture. I mean, there's a number of variables here.
Fire crews will train at the hotel again tonight with a larger drill scheduled in June. The hotel is due to be torn down and the site will be turned into a CarMax used car dealership.
When it comes to easing traffic congestion and improving safety, roundabouts are gaining popularity in the metro area and beyond. There are currently about 115 roundabouts statewide, including at least 4 in the Maple Grove and Champlin area. Well, now the cities of Crystal and Robbinsdale are considering the possibility of a smaller roundabout at the intersection of 36th Avenue and Regent Avenue. That's the intersection just off Highway 100 near the Robbinsdale Middle School, where traffic can back up. Crystal's city engineer says a mini roundabout is one possibility, but he says more research is needed to see if it's right for the area.
Roundabouts work really slick if they're in a place where they're supposed to be, but there's nothing worse than putting a roundabout where it doesn't belong.
Federal statistics show roundabouts reduce fatalities by 90%. Well, coming up, a look at what health care reform means to you. We'll break down changes in the law.
And later in sports, spots in the state boys tennis tournament are on the line. We'll have highlights.
But first, it's your AccuWeather forecast.
Reforming healthcare has proved to be a monumental and controversial task.
Healthcare reform was signed into law in 2010, but now patients are starting to see some changes when they go to the doctor, or more accurately, when they get their bill. And today we look at healthcare reform from a consumer standpoint to see how the changes will influence your pocketbook. Here's Shannon Slatton.
Today the clinic is really busy.
Clinic Sophia in Maple Grove has been so busy in the first year of business that it's looking to recruit another doctor.
The community has been very accepting and they have welcomed us with open arms.
The clinic has also seen big changes on the business side of women's health care.
For the most part, the questions that patients are asking are, is it fully covered? And for the most part, it is.
The healthcare reform law focuses on prevention and primary care. So many screenings, wellness visits, and services are now covered.
Most people say this is a time which had to come. We need to play a role in staying healthy.
Former Senator Dave Durenberger is a health policy expert at the University of St. Thomas.
There has to be a better way than something called "this is not a bill" to make sure that people are involved in their own health care.
Aside from benefits, coverage has expanded. Children can stay on their parents' insurance plans longer, and insurers cannot deny coverage for adults with pre-existing conditions. More changes are coming in 2014. Among them, Americans will be required to have some type of coverage or face a tax penalty. And you will be able to shop for health insurance through an online marketplace.
The eventual idea here is that everyone should find a market in which every year they can make choices.
But there are still many unknowns. We still do not know how much those online plans will cost or if they will level the playing field and lower insurance prices. Senator Durenberger recommends talking with a healthcare professional whom you trust to keep up with all of the changes and then see how that factors into your own health plan. Mike and Alex.
All right, thank you, Shannon. Coming up next in sports, highlights of Hopkins and Wayzata and their section baseball matchup.
Plus, why Maple Grove is looking tough to beat in section softball play. John Jacobson is in next.
Big week for playoffs. We have baseball, softball, tennis, getting down to the wire.
And we're going to start with tennis. The road to state starting to take shape for Wayzata.
It is, yeah. Their team made it in, now getting some doubles team into the state tournament. Wayzata edged Edina for the Section 6AA team title in boys tennis last week. Singles and doubles championships were on the line in the talent-filled section today. Andrew Rust and Andrew Novak of Hopkins in the doubles final. They find the going tough. Wayzata's Nick Beatty serves, and his partner Jack Graven angles the soft volley for a point for the Trojans, who keep playing well after winning the first set, 6-love. Hopkins' team does play better in set two. Off Rust serve, Novak cuts the return off for a volley winner, but it's an uphill battle against Graven and Beatty. And here's match point. Novak serves, and then his next shot is too long as Graven and Beatty roll to the 6-love, 6-3 victory to take the section title. Armstrong's Mark Conrad and Nikita Snezhko placed fourth. Hopkins and Wayzata both scored wins Monday at the Metrodome in the second round of the Section 6-3A baseball tournament. The Royals and Trojans met each other Wednesday for a spot in the winner's bracket final. Bottom of the second inning, and nice defense by the Trojans. The hard grounder to second. Michael Faco grabs it, steps on the bag, fires to Jake Ewell at first, and it's a Wayzata double play. The Trojans are up 1-0 in the third when Ewell grounds a single into center field. Nick Olmanson and Daniel Davis both score, and it's 3-0 Trojans after 2.5 innings. Trojans pitcher Jack Sorensen throws well. He gets out of a jam in the bottom of the third with a strikeout of Sam Dalton. Sixth inning, and the Trojans add another run. Jordan Sell with a fly ball just out of the reach of the Royals outfielder. Christian Linhart scores standing up, and it's 4-0 Trojans. Meanwhile, Sorensen pitches into the seventh inning for Wayzata to get the victory as the Trojans win it over Hopkins 4-1. With the win, Wayzata now takes on Edina in the winner's bracket final. That game is Saturday morning at 9 at the Metrodome. Thursday at the Dome in the losers bracket, Benilde St. Margaret's meets Armstrong at noon, followed by Hopkins and Jefferson at 2:30. The losers of those games are eliminated. In softball, Maple Grove came into the Section 5-3A tournament as the favorite to repeat as champion. Crimson has done nothing to change that thinking as they've rolled through the competition. Facing number 2 seed Irondale, and in the bottom of the first inning, Taylor Bratton drops in a 2-out hit to right that scores 2 runs and gives the Crimson a 3-0 lead. To the bottom of the third, Sidney Smith powers the low pitch deep and over the fence for a solo home run, and it's 4-0. Same inning, 2 on for Brianna Basil, and she cracks one to deep center. And this one's gone. It's a 3-run shot, and it's 7-0 Maple Grove. Bottom of the fourth, Sarah Southern laces one to the gap in left center. Emily Zimmer scores for a 9-0 lead. It's a 2-out RBI triple for Southern, and Maple Grove rolls to a 10-0 5-inning victory to move into Thursday's section final. They'll play Coon Rapids for the title at Rice Creek. In Section 6-3A softball, Plymouth neighbors Armstrong and Wayzata were looking to stay alive after each team had a loss earlier in section play. Falcons looking to build on a big comeback against Benilde in their previous game, but Wayzata's Allie Kirk slugs one to the gap in left center field. Ronnie Angel's in to score, and the Trojans take a 1-0 lead in the second inning. A couple of innings later, Kirk goes one better. Her drive clears the fence and left for a 2-run homer, and the Trojans start to break it open. They lead 4-0 at this point with more to come. Still in the fourth, Casey Palish tags one to the base of the fence and left. Steph Kirk scores, and Wayzata's lead grows to 5-0. Palish just misses a home run, settles for a double. Same inning, Emma Schifferle shoots it to the right center field gap to score Palish. Wayzata goes up, or gets 5 in the inning rather, to go up 7-0. After a couple of Armstrong runs, Steph Kirk matches her sister by homering to left to make it 9-2 Wayzata. Wayzata goes on to win 13-2, eliminating Armstrong. Well, after that win, Wayzata was eliminated by Edina, 5-1. Hopkins lost 4-0 to Ordo in the winners bracket. The Royals are playing Edina this afternoon with the winner advancing to play Orono in the finals on Thursday. And some heavy weather moving in at that game as it's going on right now as we tape the newscast. So we'll see if they complete that one, and Thursday kind of dependent on this game getting in.
All right. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Still ahead, local quiz whizzes put to the test on a national stage.
We'll be right back in just a moment.
It was head-to-head competition for 256 Quiz Bowl teams in Atlanta, Georgia this past weekend.
7 teams from Northwest Metro schools made the trip to test their knowledge of history, literature, and science. Wayzata sent 4 teams, and one of them tied with 23 others for 50th place. That's a top 20% finish, and organizers say that is quite an accomplishment. Only about 10% of the schools across the country that play Quiz Bowl received an invitation to the national competition. Also competing, we have Armstrong, Minnetonka, and Breck, and the winning team came from Austin, Texas. In all, they tell us they had about 1,300 students participating from around the country. And there was one from Wayzata. His name is Joseph Chen. He received one of the 3 Rising Freshman Awards for his top individual score. So congratulations to him.
Showing promise and a couple of years to go. Maybe return back.
Yeah, if he's a freshman, yeah.
That's right.
Look out. That'll do it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Community Corner is coming up next.